Hello, welcome back to the woods.
And in this video we're going to look at this, my little haversack, and what I carry in it when I'm out scouting about looking for new locations. So this is one of my little guide haversacks. This one normally lives in the top of my rucksack. It folds down nice and flat, and its primary job is, once I'm in camp, if I want to move away from camp at any point through the day, rather than taking my rucksack, I just take a few essential bits and pieces in here. But this also gets used when I'm out scouting around new areas, looking into new areas where I'm going to camp, or possibly wild camp, or sometimes stealth camp. And that's what I'm going to go through in this video, is what I've actually got in this and how I've got it set up. Now, before we actually delve into the haversack itself, I should say that the items in here I like to keep fairly lightweight and fairly simple. I also like to minimise what's in there by making that work in conjunction with what I'm already going to be carrying. So I'm always carrying my little cuts kit. I don't need to put a full-size first aid kit in my haversack because I've got this tucked away in my pocket. I've also got my little EDC light pouch, and in there I've got a flashlight, a ferro rod and a pocket knife, and it's a multi-bladed, non-locking, legal in the UK one, so I can carry it pretty much anywhere. On there I've got my saw, I've got my cutting blade, I've got a screwdriver, all the bits and pieces that I'm likely to need. As well as that, I'm also carrying one of these on my belt, and this is my little forester pouch. So this is for collecting stuff, but it can also be used as a water filter as well. So when I'm replenishing the water in my bottle, I can put the water through this very simple little filter to get rid of any particulate matter in it. So the actual haversack itself, well, it's just a very simple haversack made of Cordage. It's got one main pocket that's quite spacious. It's got a couple of mesh pockets on the front. It's also got a long adjustable strap, and when I'm using this, particularly if I'm out on more of a scouting type mission where I'm recce in new areas, rather than carrying it in the traditional way across my body, I tend to carry it round the back, and rather than it going through and just over one shoulder, it goes through both shoulders, so it's held on my back, a little bit like carrying a butt pack. The advantage to doing it that way is, well, when I'm moving about, if I've got to climb over a fence or go over a stile or a gate, it's not going to suddenly swing around. It's actually held quite neatly back there, which frees up both hands. I don't suddenly have to reach for it as it swings forward at that critical moment and I'm trying to get over a gate. So I can leave it there, it's out of the way until I need it. So opening the haversack up itself, well, essentially it's got four main pockets. You've got the main one in there, and in there I'll carry several things. My waterproof poncho, obviously does what it says on the tin. It's waterproof, it's going to keep me dry. It not only keeps me dry, but it helps to keep my kit dry. It can be used as an emergency shelter if I need be. But one of the other things I find is quite useful with this, because it's camouflage, I can also use it as like a little mobile hide. So if I'm watching an area for any length of time and I don't particularly want to be seen, I can put this on, sit myself into cover, and I've got a nice little camouflage hide. Also in here, well, I'm probably going to want to drink through the course of the day, so I've got my water bottle, my metal mug, and I've also got my mug stand, so that allows me to be able to get a brew on through the course of the day, and plenty of liquid for my hydration as well. What I also, there's a couple of other items in here. Number one, a local area map of the area that I'm going to be actually looking at. I find quite often it's helpful to look at the whole area so that I can see not only perhaps a bit of woodland that I'm looking at, but where the nearest water points are, where the nearest road are, where there are buildings, habitation, etc. And all that information I can get from my map. Something else that I carry in there is this, and this is a big lump of microcord, and it's like paracord, only thinner. Super strong, ideal for putting up shelters, replacing bootlaces, all those other things that we use cordage for. I've gone for a nice bright colour because I also use this as a marker. Sometimes if I'm going out to do a recce, it's usually because I want to revisit somewhere. And if there's a particular entry point into a woodland that I'm going to use and I'm going back in the daytime, then this can be a useful reminder. It can be tied to perhaps a branch on a tree, or it could be around the base of a shrub. Something discreet, but something that I'm going to see on my next visit to that location. So going into the pockets on the front, well, we start over here. I've got that essential item, tea bags for my brews as I go through the day. Sometimes it's quite nice just to head out, do a bit of a recce, but to stop, sit, have a cup of tea, have a little look at the area, see who goes by, etc. And I can do all of that while supping my tea. I've also got my brew kit and stuff in here, so got my spoon, got a little bit of mess, enough to get a good cup of tea. And I've also got in here my little homemade stealth stove, the little Monkey Boy stove. Brilliant little kit, chucks out very little light, doesn't make any noise, but it's more than adequate for getting a brew. Now in this pocket over on the end, well, I've got my lid for my metal mug, and I've also got a little polythene bag. And in here, as I said, if I'm going on recce's, I might want to make notes. So I have one notebook, just a normal paper one. It's going to be wrapped in a polythene bag, so I don't have to worry about it getting wet. You could go for a Right in the Rain, waterproof type one, but these are cheap and I've got loads of them. A little stubby pencil, again, just for helping make notes, perhaps sketching diagrams, sometimes even marking my map. But here I've got the means to do it. Doesn't weigh much, doesn't cost much, useful item. The last little bit of kit is this. And all this is a little plastic case, and inside there are 4 mini glow sticks, the little ones that they use for marking the top of fishing rods when you're night fishing. Absolutely tiny, smaller than a matchstick, and when you crack them and shake them, they will glow quite happily, and I use these quite often as kit markers. But the reason they're in here with my recce kit is if I'm going back to a woodland in the dark, what I'll do is when I do my recce is I'll crack these, put them in the grass by my entry point into a wood if I'm on a stealth camp. During the daytime these can't be seen at all, but when I revisit at night, even after 2 or 3 days, these still will be giving off a very faint glow, and if you know what you're looking for, they're there to help guide you into that area. So they're an excellent little bit of kit just for marking routes into locations if you're moving in somewhere after dark. So there you go, that is the content of my haversack for when I go out on a bit of a recce or a scout. There's everything I need in there to get myself a brew, to protect me from the weather, but also so that I've got a means of taking down the information of where I'm going, what way I'm getting in there, and there's also a way of marking those areas for if I'm returning either during the daytime or after dark. If you enjoyed this video, then remember, hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me over on all the social medias, down on Instagram, Facebook, etc. The links are in the box down below. There's also a link down there to my Etsy shop. Pop over there, have a look, see what bits and pieces there are. There's lots of stuff that I make and sell. Some of the new badges up there. I think I've got a couple more of the leather logo patches, new batches of these coming in. There's some EDC light patches coming up. There also might be another run of the guide haversacks coming up, so keep your eyes on the shop. Make sure that you get in there and get one first. If you wanted to really make sure that you're going to get in there first, then pop over to the Patreon link and perhaps become a patron over there. One of the things you get is discount on all the kit, but also you get the heads up and first choice of any new kit that I put up, so it is worthwhile doing. I think that's everything. I've been Neil, and until next time, stay safe.